Thank you for dropping your anchor with HarborCast as our Harbor family continues to glorify and enjoy God together. You asked the questions, and now we look forward to getting to know Him better through Scripture and Christ-centered interpretation.
Well, welcome again to HarborCast, the official podcast of Harbor Church in Mooresville, North Carolina. Back again with my ruling elder, Jim Aldridge, and we're continuing to talk through Songs of Ascent. We've been working through the Easter sermon series, and today we're going to be looking at Psalm 123, and I think we're just going to kind of walk through it. So, Jim, you want to just start us off and read it?
Yeah, I would love to. Psalm 123, a song of ascents. To you I lift up my eyes, O you who are enthroned in the heavens. Behold, as the eyes of servants look to the hand of their master, as the eyes of a maidservant to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God, till he has mercy upon us. Have mercy upon us, O Lord, have mercy upon us, for we have had more than enough of contempt. Our soul has had more than enough of the scorn of those who are at ease, of the contempt of the proud.
Yeah. Man, what strikes you in that psalm?
Yeah, there's a few things. It's such a short psalm, and there are a couple of big things in there, I feel like. What strikes me, and I think I think the psalm can trick you a little bit in that the writer of the psalm talks about eyes of servants and eyes of maidservants, and I've read a commentator this week about the psalm who wrote that the psalm was really about service. And you could think that right up until you get to the tail end of verse 2. So our eyes look to the Lord until he gives us the next thing to do. That's not what it says.
Right.
It says, so our eyes look to the Lord our God till he has mercy upon us.
Yeah. Yeah, and that really does change even the beginning of verse 2. The eyes of servants are looking to the hand of their master, not looking to see, hey, what can we do next? But I'm in trouble.
Yep.
I need mercy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a real focus on looking, right? And that's something actually that's in some of the other Songs of Ascent as well.
Right, and back up to Psalm 121.
Yeah.
That's exactly
right.
Second point, I think.
Yeah.
In that psalm, the writer lifts his eyes up just to the hills.
Right.
He's looking to the hills.
Yeah.
And in Psalm 123, the psalmist is very much looking up beyond the hills, looking to Yahweh, looking to the heavens. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, something else that strikes me as well is the repetition. You know, whenever you read the Old Testament, in English, if we want to draw attention to something, we might put exclamation points. We maybe underline. We've probably all received an email where we got all caps, right?
Right.
It sounds like they're shouting.
Yep.
But Hebrew doesn't really have that. The way that Hebrew shows emphasis is repetition, right? Isaiah chapter 6, when God is holy, holy, holy. Right. That's really just a way of saying HOLY exclamation point, underline, scare quotes, whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, but till he has mercy on us, so have mercy on us, have mercy upon us.
All right, 3 times mercy is mentioned. Yep. Not a small ask.
Yeah.
So it's a song, again, much like Psalm 121 and some of maybe the majority of the other songs of ascent. It's a song of these pilgrims who are in some distress.
Yeah, and their distress is repeated too. Like, we've had more than enough of contempt, more than enough of scorn from those who are at ease. You could feel how fed up the psalmist is.
Yes. The Hebrew word for more than enough, I think, would denote saturated. Like they can't, like a sponge that's saturated. They cannot handle one more drop of the contempt of the people around them.
Yeah.
Those who are at ease.
Yeah.
People who at least appear to have more comfort. They're more secure. They have more resources, and they're they're looking down on on the pilgrims as they head to Jerusalem.
And I'll say even from personal experience, it is hard to watch people who you know have done incredible harm, maybe to yourself, to loved ones, to people you know, and to see their life going pretty well, right? Like to see, somebody who maybe wrecked the life of somebody else, but yet for some technicality or maybe things haven't caught up to them or whatnot, that the person who is victimized is struggling mightily, and the victimizer is doing pretty well.
It doesn't seem fair.
It's not fair. Yeah, and I could see why he would be so fed up with this. And they're asking, the psalmist is asking for mercy from the Lord in spite of the contempt and scorn of the wicked. It's easy, I guess, the psalmist could have said, would you just zap them? Would you just would you destroy those people? That would be great. But yet he words in such a way he says, I have mercy on me.
The focus really isn't on the wrongdoers. The focus is on Yahweh, the covenant making. We see the Lord in all caps. Yeah. It's the Lord who makes and keeps covenant. Yeah. That's who the focus. In fact, all of these Psalms of Ascent, ultimately, Jerusalem isn't even the ultimate goal of these pilgrims. Right. It's Yahweh himself.
Yeah, right? That's right. Yeah, which kind of goes back to, a couple of weeks ago in the intro to the Songs of Ascent, we talked about the significance of Jerusalem is the temple. And the significance of the temple is Yahweh himself. That's where it shows a special presence. Yeah, and if we were to kind of apply this to ourselves, to in the journey, in the Christian life, Christ wants our eyes to be upon him. I remember I went to a conference once where I heard Paul David Tripp. He was actually exegeting a psalm, and he said he had a line in there that I have kept with me for years now, and it has kept me sane through so many things. And it was this. He said, Let the meditation of your heart be on the beauty of the Lord and not on the ugliness of ministry. Now, I think you could apply that to the ugliness of life. Right. That's not to mean that he was trying to say, well, just think happy thoughts or don't be engaged in the world. That's not what he was saying. It was that in the middle of the night, you are going to ruminate about something. Right. You're going to be kept up because you are fed up with the evil that you see around you. And I think what this psalm says is take your eyes off of that and look for mercy from the Lord. Right.
And it's a purposeful, the psalmist is directing his eyes to the Lord. I mean, there's purpose to this. It's not a sit around and, well, the Lord's just going to have to direct my eyes to him. I mean, there's an owning the process, and we see that even again, we'll talk about it in another podcast related to Psalm 131. There is an owning. Part of the process we own. There is a discipline. Right. Now, it's spirit-enabled, purely spirit-enabled. But there are tools and there's a discipline to focusing our eyes on the Lord. Yeah. Quieting our hearts, as we'll talk about later. Yeah. And begging for mercy. And really, he's so driven. It's till he has mercy upon us. I was reminded in reading that, of Jacob in Genesis 32, where he won't let God go. Won't let him go. Right. Will not let you go until you bless me. Right. It's almost the same. This maidservant is clutching Yahweh. Right. I'm not letting go of you until I get mercy from you.
Yeah, and we'd be utter fools if we think, wow, Jacob must have been really strong to keep God there. Right. Now, God was teaching Jacob, hey, I want you to keep at, same thing that